Here we go.
Or you hate Canada, or more likely, both. Only people in this country who dislike our culture and who dislike our people would be okay with the government subsidizing non-Canadians to work here. We already know that the government of Canada, through the IRCC, provides up to $8,000 a month for refugees and newcomers. You may not be aware, but there's also a loan program, okay, that the government of Canada issues that will give interest-free one-time loans for newcomers up to $15,000. Isn't that something that you could probably use, Canadians? Well, you don't get to use it because, well, you're Canadian and you don't deserve it. You just have to pay for it with your taxes. Nonetheless, you also might be as well familiar with the fact that the Refugee Assistance Program, or the Resettlement Assistance Program, RAP, through the IRCC, also gives people who are not Canadian up to $700 a month per individual for rent. That's right. So they'll literally pay you money. They'll literally give you an interest-free loan, and they will literally pay your rent in Canada so long as you're not Canadian. Now, that sentence I just said should make everybody freak out and, frankly, protest, to say lightly. Vive la revolution. Nonetheless, that's not what we're talking about today. What we're talking about is specifically the employment subsidies that employers are given by the Canadian government. But before we get into that, let's now go through the list of programs, federal and provincial, that we're going to dive deep into today that subsidizes employers to hire non-Canadians. So you've got SWPP, which is federal, which will give 50 to 70% of the wages up to $7,000 for non-Canadians. You've got TOP, again federal, again 50 to 70%, and again up to $7,000.
Do you want me to let him read this list off, or do you want me to skip it?
I think the list is worth having.
You have welcoming newcomers, federal, up to 50%, maximum amount being $10,000. Prime through Quebec, which is the most egregious and disgusting, up to 100% of minimum wage, $34,320. Employee wage subsidy in Quebec, another program they have, because that one's not enough, up to 40 to 100% of minimum wage, $13,200. Jobs NL in Newfoundland, 60 to 80%, $12 an hour, of $13,440 being the maximum. Refugee subsidy, ISANS, through Nova Scotia, which varies, but maxes out estimated at $15,808. As well, you've got Gauge in Ontario. That is maxed out at $19,200, and CETC, which is 25 to 30% through Ontario, for a total of $3,000.
I just want to mention these are different sectors too. Some of them are co-op students, international students, electricity sector. One of them seems fairly specific. The rest of them, some no NA experience.
Temporary residents, refugees, and claimants. Can I identify as a refugee?
Sure.
Those numbers and those programs should make everybody in Canada who is Canadian and who has contributed to this society absolutely floored. Because I'm floored. It is disgusting and insane. You cannot justify these programs whatsoever. And the craziest part about it is, of course, they're all under the same umbrella in one way, shape, or form under the IRCC, which receives about 1.2 billion, with a B, Canadian taxpayer dollars annually to distribute funds in this manner.
There we go. So we pay 1.2 billion, if this is fact checked right.
Again, you may remember IRCC from the Canoe app, which gives non-Canadians access to everything in Canada for free, 50% off via rail travel, and 15% off of Air Canada domestic flights. It's absolutely incredible how they can spit in your face and get mad at you for asking why they did it. But anyway, let's not get stuck on that chart, because there's a couple more that could not fit in that chart that I have as well. There's as well the Canadian Ontario Job Grant through Ontario and through the Fed, which covers up to 2/3 of costs, up to $10,000 per employee for eligible newcomers, refugees. Skills Connect program in British Columbia, which offers up to $7,500 to employers, and a multicultural achievement program for learning employers, disgustingly named Maple, which is through BC, which covers up to $5,000 for non-Canadians. Again, these numbers should incense you to freaking out and, in my opinion, in a peaceful manner, revolting against the Canadian government. Will you? Probably not. Will you share my sentiment? Probably. But nonetheless, let's dive deep into these absolutely disgusting programs.
All right, we'll leave it there. I mean, I'll put a link in the show notes to that because I mean, it is. We just don't have time to go deep. Let him dive deep for us, but you know, it should incense people. I mean, it really is. It's unbelievable that they can get away with doing all this, right? I mean, it's like a controlled demolition.